you guys doing?
Pretty good. What's up, Cam?
Doing all right. Doing all right. Not much.
You guys just want to introduce yourself, who you guys are, your name, what do you guys do, things like that.
I'm James Dowell. I'm a social studies teacher here at Roseville Area High School. I'm also a lead teacher of culture.
I'm Greg Bess. I'm the African American Cultural Liaison, district-wide position. So I work with the black students here at the school.
But I'm gonna start off with this one question: is when you hear phrase "Black excellence," and what moments from your own life immediately come to mind, and why do these moments matter to you?
Oh my gosh, that's a loaded question. I love that question. Black excellence. First of all, we touch on Black excellence a lot in my class that I teach. It's called U.S. History Through an African American Lens here at Roseville Area High School. When I think about Black excellence, I think about moments in my own life that include like graduating from high school and graduating from college. Big things for me in that realm, right? A lot of kids that I went to school with in New Orleans, Louisiana, where I'm from, were at a predominantly African American high school. In that school, a lot of those kids came from that area to become all types of professions, whether in education or they're doctors or in law and what have we. So I feel like that was a big, huge, important moment. The other moment in my life as an adult that I can point to as a moment of Black excellence truly is the inauguration of President Barack Obama. That was a similar moment for many African Americans, and I think we all felt some sense of pride during that era and during that administration.
Okay.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. I like the example as Barack Obama for Black excellence, but I also think at the same time there is sort of a little bit of a disconnect for me with Black excellence as far as not being able to attain it or having the disadvantages economically where I grew up in the south side of Chicago. So I think it's something that I definitely look to strive for, but also that I see others striving for in my community. And it's a lot of good role models. It's a lot of things to obtain, searching for Black excellence. And I was happy to have my mom sort of as a good example. That's sort of what I strive to as my role model in my life. You know, going to college, doing the right things, becoming an educator, are all things that we as Black people strive to do and try to attain our goals. It's kind of harder to obtain that Black excellence. It's way more of a journey for you being Black than your white counterparts to obtain that excellence, you know. So I kind of want to acknowledge that at the same time, because I think that people see people like Obama and they think that it just was an easy route, and it really wasn't. He had to overcome many other things than just working a job or gaining those positions and stuff like that. So.
Okay.
Yeah, I would agree with that, man, and having this more of a conversation about that, and we talk about that too, the pressure of Black excellence, because so many times in social media especially, we see Black people doing so many significant things, and it seems that whether they're these celebrities or whether they're these people in the limelight, then hey, I can do that, that should be attainable, and there's a quick journey to that, but we know it's not quick. It's not quick for any of those folks who have made it in all these different areas. So yeah, there's an innate pressure with Black excellence too that we do see, and I'm sure our kids feel too every day.
Now, can you describe a time when you witnessed Black excellence in a way that wasn't celebrated publicly, but had a deep impact on your community?
I think for me, you know, things that aren't celebrated here, when I came to Minnesota back in 2001, graduated from high school, and then went to St. Olaf College, graduated from there in 2005, and I moved up to St. Paul. I had no idea about Rondo. And I know that your family has a big stake in Rondo, and
Sure.
I would ask you about that in a second, but like, just learning the community and learning the beauty of the history of like a Central High School in that area, and some of the brothers that I met, like barbershop in that area. So we're talking like from Summit Hill all the way to Cathedral Hill, all the way to Midway in that community spanning Rondo, and going to like the library and seeing all like, you know, the thriving Black community there. That's something that I know for sure that wasn't celebrated with Rondo days and some of that stuff, and it wasn't highly publicized where I was coming from. So to see that and to see that exists here, that was huge for me. And of course the Black Mecca, North Side, North Minneapolis, man, I again had no idea about that coming here, and to be in that community. Actually, I worked My first job was at an African American newspaper, is at Insight News in Minneapolis, and I know for sure that those things weren't celebrated. Those things were seen as everyday things to the people around there, but to me, those were super important.
Yeah, so I know, like you mentioned, Rondo and North Minneapolis. I actually worked in North Minneapolis, and before I worked there, you know, obviously, like everybody has their misconceptions and perception on what that neighborhood is, and this neighborhood was actually very powerful for me to work there and work at a nonprofit and see that it wasn't just a neighborhood, it was people working together to make sure it was black businesses, black nonprofits. I mean, they're helping people with substance treatment over there. It's so many powerful things. They put on block parties, and these are things that you can just go out to, and people probably don't notice if they're not going over there. They don't know that it's politicians living in the neighborhood,
Right.
that it's all of these different things going on. They got the African American Museum over there with some of the history, and then, you know, you got North Point, which is actually a health and wellness center that caters to the community. They not only do like food shelf, they do human services. They'll get your SNAP benefits. They'll get you right, you know. And this is with no strings attached for the most part, because it's for the benefit of the people. And it was called Pilot City, and it sort of goes back to when they started those free healthcare centers back in the day. And that was started by mostly majority black folk. And this is one of the ones that's still standing on the north side of Minneapolis. They got plenty other things to cater to the community. It's some strong neighborhoods. It's some strong black neighborhoods with black excellence, and you won't hear about it. All you will hear about is the murders and the killings and the chaos, when it's really, it's way more than that. Way more than that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
100%,
I agree.
100% for sure. Yeah, I like that. My mom lives over in North Minneapolis, and I can contest to that. That not only is it a neighborhood that is in the being of being built, but it's a neighborhood that comes with love. It comes with care. I know there's a lot of things going on in Minneapolis as of today, as of the last few weeks, a few months, but when you actually live in a neighborhood and you experience the real authentic community and you connect with people around the neighborhood, it's actually joyful.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
my mom lives off of Broadway, so in that area it's a lot of black folks. And when you go through the neighborhood, like the summertime, sometimes the wintertime, you're gonna see kids running around, playing around. You're gonna see people with their dogs out walking them. You're gonna see a lot of different people connecting. I know with my mom, there's kids in the neighborhood that refer to her as Miss Perry.
Okay.
And she doesn't only help support those kids, but she gives them a home, gives them a space to where they're able to go there and they're able to eat, watch TV, hang out with us. And I feel like that's great. I feel like that's honestly the best part of the neighborhood. Not only do you have a system that is set up for you to just thrive, but also places in the neighborhood where you can go there and experience the love that you get. So I can contest to North Minneapolis being that spot. And like you said with Rondo,
Right.
my family, the Finneys, the Perrys, the Banks, we all grew up in the Rondo area. My family has deep roots going all through Rondo, and I feel like it's dope from how you look at the community and actually being in the community are two different things.
They are.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I think, to your point, I think that a part of that black excellence is the community, whether it's the community that we feel here in the Twin Cities area, or some of those communities that I've been exposed to. I know Greg's from Chicago. Some of those communities that I've been a chance to been exposed to, whether it's on the south side or the west side, those are predominantly black communities, or the black community that I'm from in New Orleans. That's the stronghold of black excellence that we don't get to see and hear about and discuss all the time. It's commonplace for us, but it's not commonplace for the mainstream.
Yeah. As we sit here, black men, in a predominantly white area.
Okay.
You know, there's black students that come in, athletes, honor roll students. how do you guys lift up and mentorship the Black excellence across generations? How do you guys show kids this is a good route, this is not a good route? How do you show them like this path is probably like the best path you can go on?
Oh my gosh, Dre, you want to take this one, man? You take this one first?
Yeah, I can go with that, and I can go with the best answer that I think for me having to, you know, sort of like take the lead for my cousins and my brother, and it always started with me first. And when I say that, I mean set an example. So if you can't be what you want the kids to be, what you want the students to be, you can't tell them what to be. And they're very smart and intelligent. They'll look at you doing something and they like, I can't follow that dude. Like I can't. So I try to, since growing up, I tried to be a good role model, something that I don't have, something that, you know, for these young Black males and young Black women, is kind of absent in our community because we got all of these things breaking us down. And I try to lead with example, doing the right thing, having the right advice, being there, showing up actually for your kids. And yeah, that's sort of like my answer for that question.
Okay. Yeah, I would say that too. To add on to that is that representation is truly important. If you can be there, anytime you can be there and help support students, whether, you know, we talk about some of the organizations that we have here, whether it's BSU or anything, just individually our young folks who are involved in things in Roseville and the community, to show up, right? So in my 10 years here at Roseville, just showing up for not only students of color, but all students, but especially students of color, and being somebody representative for them, and seeing that example. You can be a teacher, you can be whatever you want to do, whatever you put your mind to, whether you're in my class or I'm just seeing you walking in the hallway and I'm talking to you, because sometimes, you know, kids like, oh man, he's always talking to us. I'm always talking to you because I believe in you, man. And so those representative factors are very important. And I guess for students to see us and, you know, for your peers to see you trying to do things positive, I think it's important for everybody as we're moving forward. Like, you have this example there, and you don't have to like follow people who are not doing what they're supposed to do, because we know where that road can lead, and we discuss and talk about that, and we're open and transparent about what that looks like as well too, because we don't want to steer anybody wrong. Like, we want to be open about where things lead if you don't do what you're supposed to do. All right, and the more we can keep on putting that example, that positive example out there, the better we will be, and the better our community will be, I believe.
100%. Now, I was talking with one of my teachers, and I showed her some of the questions I had and things like that, and from a topic that I didn't even know really mattered until she said something about it.
Okay.
It's basically just in celebrating the culture. Now, for Black History Month, I know there's a lot of teachers here that isn't of color that have a difficult time on sharing topics that not only do they not know about 100%,
absolutely,
but it's like they're stepping in a puddle that they feel uncomfortable stepping in. So the question I want to ask is, what does it mean to celebrate African American culture authentically rather than performatively?
That's a great question. I think it's easy to wait for February to roll around and say, hey, it's Black History Month, and just roll it out, right? One way that we do have a way of not doing that and just being performative is to have, you know, USHAL, our U.S. History through an African American lens, but also the way we kind of carry ourselves at Roseville is to make sure that we talk about and try to support each other. I know that right now in the climate we're in, it's been especially hard here, but I think the way that we can combat some of the performative gestures is to make sure that we support each other behind the scenes. What are you planning to do? How are you planning, if it's just Black History Month, or if it's something that you want to talk about and discuss that is African American centered? We need to be having those conversations about what that is and what that looks like, so we can lead with our whole heart and be authentic when we're doing so. If there's something you don't understand, I think that's where a true conversation could come through. And I know these conversations can be tough, but I think they're important, especially as educators, and for you guys as students to do so.
Yeah. Like, as far as, don't start with February, start at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
You know, like, start at the beginning of the year with educating yourself on African American history. It's plenty of books, plenty of education books, plenty of things maybe you can implement into your curriculum to teach your students, and then you learn at the same time. It's pretty simple. Like, and then if the conversation needs to be opened up, you have to seek that. And I feel like if you're uncomfortable with discussing certain things, then maybe that might be a problem, and maybe that might be a conversation you need to have with any of the black staff or anybody that you think is educated on the matters at hand. And it's your responsibility, actually, as an educator, given the black population that we have, to educate yourself and understand your students and their history, because you might not understand what they're going through. It might be something as simple as them showing up to the classroom, not having anything to eat because that only meal they have is that free lunch, and they're acting disruptive. So understanding different aspects of your students will actually improve your engagement with them at the same time. So I think educating yourself is big, and I starting with that February,
100%.
Yeah, can't wait till February.
All right. So as we dive into more personal reflection and things that you guys lived through, what was like one time that you were like the most proud of your culture?
I think this is a generalization in this conversation. Is like, the one time, I don't know if it's most time. I think in general, the way I was raised, making it more personal and immediate, I think I'm just proud to be black, right? I know that Greg can say the same thing, but we grew up in those black communities where it's a stronghold. I grew up around people who are already black professionals. My mayor is black. My teacher is black. I think staff, in conversation talking to staff here, I didn't have a teacher that was not black until I was in 7th grade. That's pretty remarkable. And that built me up personally, and I'm proud of that upbringing and that background to where I didn't have to go looking and searching for black people who are doing great things. I think people were already doing these things in my community, and I know that every African American kid does not have that piece, but I did, and I think that it put me on a great path, right? A great starting path to do some of the things that I tried to do coming up, and that's important. That representation, as I said earlier, it matters, and it's very important, and it makes me proud every single day, right? So I don't know if there's one particular thing. But just growing up in that environment that was positive, and it was black, and it was professional, and it was all these things that we're striving for today.
Yeah, I kind of got the same sort of background as far as black teachers, black stores, black family, black everything up until 8th grade when I moved here. And I went to Afrocentric centered school and different type of schools, black schools. I went to Catholic school with a political activist, Father Flager, white man, but worked with Jesse Jackson and plenty other things. So I grew up around this sort of striving for greatness, pushing against the agenda for the people, culture, African American culture. And like you said, I carried that with me, and I needed that. In the spaces that I was gonna go in the next few years among my life, I needed to be reminded that I was proud to be me, and I still am to this day. So
sort of like a grounding?
Yeah.
Like that grounding
yeah.
affirmation of who I am, right?
Yeah.
So the affirmation of who you are as a young black man, or as a black person in general, to set you off in order to do
right.
great things, right?
Right. Yeah. I needed that. Yeah. That's powerful, and I know some kids don't got that.
Yep.
And
absolutely.
That's a different journey. Maybe that's a journey in finding that at a HBCU, or finding that in a community, with other students and stuff like that. So yeah.
Okay. So I'm gonna push for a more funner topic, more fun question
yeah.
here. But
okay.
How does food, language, fashion, home memorize within black communities? How can you express your way through that? How does that sit with you?
Oh, black culture is something else. We talk about the influence of black culture on just our livelihoods American culture, from the fashion to music, like you talk about hip hop music, or even rock music, almost any type of music, African American, jazz, anything you could think of, any genre, African Americans have had their hand in. I know being from a very culturally rich place like New Orleans, speaks to that piece with the music, but also with the food. And there's one show that I expose students to is on Netflix, shameless plug, called High on a Hog, that talks about that, how like a lot of our cultural pieces, food, clothing, whatever, it comes from West Africa, right? So there's this link with the motherland to African Americans here too, and in those bonds. And I would love for students to kind of bridge that piece, right? That cultural piece, because that's where we are from. That's our ethnic origin, and you can see it in all types of American culture and genres today. It's just there, spot on. Whether it's rhythm and rhyme, whether it's music and playing instruments, all those things account for it. And then fashion, it's in everything. You already know. You already know, man.
For sure.
Yeah.
Man, we got everything. Like, as far as like being in the mainstream, everybody, people have said this, everybody want to be us, but nobody want to be us.
Right. Yeah, right.
From the music, the most popular, everything you hear on TikTok, the way we dress, the way we wear that hat, the way we wear them J's, everybody want to do it. Everybody. Because it's being cool, it's being hip, it's being caught up with it, the new things. So like, yeah, it's so many things from, man, it's great. Like you said, like the music, every genre, like even rock. I mean, with Jimi Hendrix and like people like that, like, man, it's deep. It's deep. It's deep. And I think it's because like also at the same time, like black people been here so long and been like immersing people into the culture and bringing those innovative ways from nothing. So like when you start with nothing and you can make something so great, people are like, how is they making that food like that so good and they don't have anything there? How are they barely have instruments, but it sounds so good. Like,
yeah, to piggyback on that, it is old too, right? These things are old. These things were taken from Africa, they're taken from the Caribbean and brought here. So they're so old and so ingrained in us that now the pieces of those, the remnants of that, are influential to everybody. Everybody wants to have a piece of that because it has influence and it's established. It's not something that was just created with us. We've always had.
right.
I think that was a great question, but before we end, before we end, though, I want you guys just to, if there's anything you would like to say, a message that you would like to say, you can go ahead and say it, honestly. Message you want to say to them?
Man, this has been great. First of all, thank you, Cam, for setting this up. This is positively outstanding. One thing I say to Roseville community and everybody's staff and everybody here is to embrace other cultures other than your own. That is how we learn. We know that we're going to start focusing on African American history because of Black History Month right now, but go outside of that. Go outside of that month, as Mr. Best talked about, and embrace all the different cultures that we have here. Roseville is a beautiful community within this high school, and it's something that a lot of kids around the country do not have access to and don't have. We have to embrace that, and together we'll be stronger because of that. Take the time to learn about each other, learn each other's stories, and that will help us progress.
Well, end on that. I don't got no message. We're good. I don't got one.
Like that?
Thank you for coming.
Absolutely.